Internet is jumping today. A lot of stuff. Everybody's having conversations and different opinions about the Antonio Brown situation. First of all, we want to definitely pray for him. Pray for his family, his grandmother, who he often refers to. I really feel bad for him. It's a terrible situation and it's really sad. And I know a lot of people, he's done, and he might be, and that might be the best thing for him is to be done with football and figure out how to get on to a normal life. But I want to say this right here. Let's be careful about judging people, because one thing about it, you know where you've been, but you don't know where you're going. And one car accident and one shot to your head and your head get hit the wrong way, you might act out too. As we displayed this morning on the morning show, when the Pittsburgh Steelers was playing the Cincinnati Bengals and Antonio Brown went across the middle and went up to catch that pass, and that linebacker made that dirty play in Cincinnati, came with the shoulder pad and hit him in his head and knocked him out. He had a concussion, and if everybody just, maybe look into it a little bit, some people just don't recover from certain trauma to the head and trauma to the brain or whatever. Yeah, you probably could function. It ain't no different than somebody that went over and served in Iraq and Afghanistan and come back and they have post-traumatic stress disorder. And sometimes you can get post-traumatic stress disorder, or CTE, whatever they call it, from a hit. From a hit in the head. Because if you go back and look at it, a couple of more catches, 3 or 4 more catches for maybe like 50 yards, he would have gained another $1 million. Who want to mess that up? You know what I'm saying? And it was no reason, because he was playing. It was no reason for him to do what he did. So that clearly lets you know that something was definitely wrong. Yes, some of his behavior in the past, but we don't know if that contributed to, if his injury to the head contributed to some of his behavior on the field and off the field. And this is not celebrity pity. This is pity to anybody that have dealt with a head injury or seen some things that they can't unsee, and it messed people up. I mean, a lot of people have trauma and acting out right now in small, subtle ways from childhood trauma. Some people was molested, some people was raped, some people was beat. You understand? Some people, man, and it's like, can't nobody judge. Don't nobody know. Don't nobody know. Only thing I know is that, it was kind of embarrassing, and it don't feel good. It put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But how do we know, how do we know if that's not a result of his injury? And if you go back and look at the play and look at the tape, Antonio Brown was fine until he had that injury. Once he sustained that injury in that particular game, after that, everything after that is when he started acting out. Super Dave called it right on the morning show. We went back there. We did a little research. We looked at all of the incidents that he had, and we went back and we looked at the tape, and that's what we found. It seemed like after that particular injury in that game against the Cincinnati Bengals, when he took that cheap shot to the head from that linebacker, who, by the way, is I don't think he's even in the league anymore. I can't remember his name, but that's what happened. So, only thing we asking people to do, man, is pray for Antonio Brown, pray for his, just imagine how that man grandmother feel, the whole internet going in on him. This man had a terrible injury Imagine what that man grandmama at home feeling like. You know, he was raised by his grandmother apparently because he always referred, to his grandmother. Just imagine what his grandmother going home through. So, we need to just kind of take a deep breath. And let me say this: just because somebody make a whole lot of money, just because I'd rather make $30,000 than make millions and not functioning properly. I just think I'm talking about like for real. Just because you're a millionaire, or whatever, and then sports is totally different from. You got some celebrities out here that just be acting out just to act out, and they got money and they just do stupid stuff or whatever. But for somebody who have had an injury to the head and probably having some some issues with that, which is causing this behavior, man, people like that, man, we really need to pray for him and hope that damn football, I hope he never go on the field again or whatever, because apparently something is wrong with him. But let's just hope that he ain't messed up. And just imagine when that man turned 50 and 60 years old, I know some people right now that play football and they ain't no good right now. They ain't no good. That's why they taking certain measurements in the NFL and in college football to cut back on some of those injuries. But the NFL don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that. Go back, go to YouTube, look at the game when he had that injury against the and that's right, Talisha, and boxing as well. Look at some of the boxers. And somehow some of them act and some of the stuff that they go through and slurred speech and all this stuff. And then it affect everybody differently. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of football players can't walk. As Nevin said right here, fingers toe up, everything messed up. And you know what I'm saying? People out here just doing something that they love. They love the game of football or whatever. But this is some of the stuff that happens. Go and look at the. Thank you, Kurt, for that information. Go and look at the movie Concussion with Will Smith. It tells it all. It tells it all, according to Kurt Boudreaux right here. You know what I'm saying? They be young, when they in their 20s, but man, when these dudes hit 40 and they start getting older or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Football is a very, very dangerous sport. Thank you to Lisa Campbell. She said football is a dangerous sport, but I don't think it should be played long term. Yeah, I agree. It just depends on, them running back and wide receiver, an offensive lineman don't really sustain no injury because they mostly like with their arms or whatever, defensive lineman, man. But the running backs, the cornerbacks, the safeties, the fullbacks or whatever, man, these dudes, especially those wide receivers coming across the middle. Our counselor, Yanetta Smith on here said, yep, TBI is real. A lot of the focus is on military, but it really impacts athletes as well. Thank y'all for this information or whatever, and it's scary. It's scary. So, damn, and I played football, hell, from Little League football and played some years in high school. And I'm gonna tell you something, man, going across the middle, just because they got the ladies, understand, don't think just because they got the helmet on, that shit don't hurt. I'm talking about for real. If you ain't got no stinger or you went head on with somebody or whatever, and laid down that field and the whole world spin around and you look up through your face mask and a coach standing over you while you don't even know to spit grass out of your mouth, man, it's dangerous. So let's keep Antonio Brown and his family lifted up in prayer, and let's try to be a little bit more understanding as opposed to being judgmental. The seeing him go through this stuff, I can understand the feeling of embarrassment and disappointment, but let's take a deeper look or whatever and just go back and and look at that tape. And when you look at that tape with him running across the field, or whatever, most of us probably would have been in a wheelchair, dying, dead, all the stuff. Never Short said Brian Gumble did a story years ago on players after the career's over, and it was super sad. He showed current players while they, I'm trying to read it. Yeah, while they were like, we got to worry about that later. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. So go back and look at that Cincinnati game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers and look at that hit that he took. And I promise you, and I'm not a doctor and I'm not a therapist, but I promise you, think about where you would be had you taken a lick like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people are like, oh, he walked off the job. He walked away from millions of dollars, and he might be done. But what about his life? What about him as a human being functioning in life or whatever? He might run into some more issues off the field. Imagine the mood swings and stuff. I have a friend whose husband played football that's actually going through that. Look at Tony Dorsett and the stuff that Tony Dorsett go through. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they just need to probably change the way they play the game and change some of the rules even more. You know, you can do the hits, but not the hits to the head. They got to protect this area right here. So let us know what your thoughts, man. Like they say, hit that like button. And I would love to see your opinion on this. So I'll sit here later on and I'll go through some of the comments. Y'all have some really, really good opinions on it. And yes, the NFL need to do even more. You know, and some of us went through some trauma with our mamas and daddies and uncles and all of this stuff, man. And we have acted out. We have acted out in relationships. We have acted out in public. We have acted out. Look at all of the anger that's going on. And a lot of this stuff come from some type of trauma. So it's just deeper. But some of us on here, man, just by the grace of God, with everything that we went through, we operate with a sound. We ain't perfect, but we operate with a sound mind, and we have common sense, good home training, manners, common courtesy, and all that stuff. But some people, man, their trauma affected them differently, and we all different. So, you know, we're not in a position to judge anyone. So Pastor Brian on here said we all need to help in one way or the other. So let's keep the conversation going. Keep talking about trauma and head injuries, and start emailing the NFL instead of being mad at Antonio Brown or whatever. Start, you know, challenging, you know, the NFL, you know, about and college football, the NCAA, you know, on what can they do to in high school football as well, to try to protect our athletes, especially the ones that play football. All right, man, y'all have a blessed day, man. And thank you for listening to the Rickey Smiley Morning Show every morning. All right, y'all, peace.